So I want to thank everybody for their patience. Thanks for joining us today, being a part of Alignable Small Business Essentials series. In this series, we bring topics that we've heard our members want to learn more about. And we bring in experts just like Chris to help our members understand the latest ways to boost their business. I'm Randy Penfield from Alignable. I have the pleasure of hosting today's event, Tips to Unlock Your Website's Full Potential. And Chris has great information on the slide that he's going to share with us today. So please hang tight so Chris can go through everything. So why are we presenting this today? Well, we know that your website, how it appears, it's extremely important for small businesses. Your website is the front door to your business online. So we want to make sure that you've got all the information that you need to update your site and make sure that it is being found. That's why we have Chris Carbo, founder of Hoothost, joining us today. Now, a little bit about Chris before I let him take over. He is a creative technologist with over 15 years of professional experience. He has experienced a successful career in internet media and technology, but in recent years, he saw many flaws within the industry. He knew a better system was needed to create ideal results online. And that's why you guys are here for small business owners. So he created a completely fresh approach to web design and development, website management, and website hosting services. So with all that, he launched a new website company called Hoothost. He's going to go through all of the things that you need to do to make sure that your website is being found online. I'm going to have Chris take over in a second. I'm going to man the chat. So as he's mentioning things, I'll put certain links in there. All your questions put into the Q&A so we make sure that Chris can, take them and answer all of your questions. I apologize that we had some issues in the beginning. People are now joining. Chris, I'm going to mute. I'm going to turn off my mic, my camera. Floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much, Randy. So really appreciate the introduction. Really appreciate Alignable Education as well for holding this webinar. Thanks to everyone who is attending and stuck with us through that little technical issue there. But today we are jumping into this conversation that comes up in a lot of Alignable groups. A lot of business owners are always asking about, what am I sort of struggling with my website, and what are the tips that I need to really get more out of my website, both to find the results that I'm looking for, create the conversions that I'm looking for, and continue to grow my online presence. So that plays into the conversation of website maintenance and management. It's really reasonable for any business owner to ask, what are the aspects of website maintenance and management? What are the processes that I should be thinking about, keeping top of mind, and constantly working towards to improve the content, design, and optimization of my website? And how do all of those things play into the marketing of my overall business? So, website maintenance and management is ongoing efforts to continuously improve your website, optimize it, and find, sort of the shortcomings that you may be experiencing and overcoming them. And I think the big takeaway that I want everyone to have from this webinar today will be, number one, that your website is never a finished product. It's always something that you should be looking at as a marketing tool, number one, for your business. And, just like any other marketing tool, it needs regular care and review and optimization to continue to drive the results that you're looking for, and really create that results-driven online presence that is going to help you meet your business goals. So let's explore some of the ongoing maintenance and management, sort of ongoing concerns and processes that are really important to both find the results that you're looking for and continue to grow your online presence. So the first big one that I really want to highlight is page edits and design updates. So, you never want a site visitor to come to your site and see, this stale, hasn't been updated in forever website. It's been 3 years, and it's just obviously looking behind. It's not properly representing your business. Because your website is the digital face of your business. And whether it's a first impression or a returning impression, it always matters. So, keeping your website from a design and overall sort of presentation standpoint is so important. You want to continuously be looking to improve the sort of design and representation of your business, your products, or your services. And this really applies to whether you just built and launched a new website, you spent all these weeks and months, and you spent all this money and you put together a great website, or you've had a website up for years. You should still always be looking at it as, we need to be kind of looking into the overall presentation and experience of our site, to continuously improve messaging, search engine optimization standards, focusing on the presentation to kind of guide conversion journeys, and really just trying to keep things up to date so that it's properly representing your services or your products, and staying up to date with what's going on in your business. It happens all the time where a business will say, we haven't really updated our website in a while, and we have all these new services or new team members. You want to keep all of that up to date so that it's kind of growing with your business and really properly representing you. The next big part of that is content editing and publishing. So, it's very much part of the overall presentation conversation, but really content is king. It's the most important aspect of telling your story, conveying the messaging that you want to get across. And also, it's a big part of, helping people understand what it is that your business does. So, continuously looking to improve your content, not just from a messaging standpoint, but also from a search engine optimization standpoint, and also for conversions. Publishing targeted content is really all about looking at the metrics and analytics of your site. So going back to what I was just talking about with page edits and design updates, you're looking at the metrics of your site and the analytics of your site. And now you can start making data-driven decisions about, is this content on this page effectively telling the story that we need and driving the conversion journey that we need? Is it meeting the search engine optimization goals that we had? And, through, making those sort of like data-driven choices, you'll, be able to look at, hey, we kind of need to change the messaging on this. We need to, reorganize some of the content for, better focused keywords for search engine optimization. And as you're kind of going through that content editing experience, you're going to grow your online presence and you're going to create the better outcomes that you're looking for. So, a big part of this also is about always adding, not just optimizing the content that you already have and making it as best possible to represent your business and be optimized, but also adding new content to your website. So the best way to do that is often blog management. This is something that's so overlooked when it comes to a lot of businesses, especially that I come across over the years. Blogs are just not really something that people realize the true, just opportunity that is there. So maintaining an active blog is so important to driving relevance for your business, becoming an authority on Google, and really helping to not only keep your existing audience engaged, but have new people find you, which is really what we're looking for. And it's so often that people don't realize, the more that you are effectively blogging and putting blogs out there, you're not only keeping your existing audience with you and continuously coming back, learning new things and re-engaging with you, but you're opening doors to find new people, new leads, new customers. And what we call this is EAT, is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Because the other aspect of finding that new audience and really putting out that new content is relevancy. and really expanding where your website kind of stands, especially with search engines, because the more topic focused blogs that you're putting out that are relevant to your services, your industry, and what your business does, it's going to not only educate your existing audience, but it's also going to let Google know, hey, this business is continuously putting out great quality content that we know we can trust. So we know that they're an authority in their industry. We know that we can trust this information. So that's going to help rank your site better, drive more organic traffic to your site. And before you know it, you're going to have more leads and more customers. So, the power of blogs is so huge. And it is really something that, for adding new content, targeting, potential search engine organic traffic to your site, it's so huge. And especially now with Google's new generative AI experience that is kind of available for some people, but it's going to be really public very soon. The blog and content optimization conversation is only going to be more important. So you'll realize, so far I'm talking about, page design and user experience, optimizing your content, and kind of making your content, best represent your business as possible, adding new content with blogs. So all of these things are kind of encapsulating our next big talking point here, which is the one that everyone talks about, of course, search engine optimization. Really, when it comes to, the first few steps that I talked about, we are constantly working on our design and really improving the overall user experience. We know we have great content and we're blogging, but without sort of like the foundational elements of what we call SEO essentials in place, you might have this great website, but if you can't be found, it doesn't matter. So step one really of when it comes to search engine optimization is making sure that that strong foundation for your site to be able to be crawled, indexed, and ranked is in place so that your site will be able to rank appropriately on search engine result pages. So these kind of SEO essentials of what we're talking about are titles, descriptions, alt tags, proper structure of your website for headlines and content, and even things like your sitemap and robot.txt. These are all sort of like the baseline essentials, the foundation of your website to make sure that you're going to be ranking appropriately. As you kind of have that level one in place, and now you're seeing organic traffic coming in, what then you can focus on is optimizing the actual pages of your website and your blogs, of course, as well. What we call on-page SEO, and choosing, for your service page, you're going to have a focused keyword or phrase, and really making sure that all of your pages of your site are going to be as relevant as possible to particular search terms or phrases that are really going to help take your site to the next level. Another really big aspect of SEO that a lot of business owners ask about inevitably is backlinks. So I'm sure this is going to come up in the Q&A. So I'm just going to say right now, we can talk about it more if anyone has that question. Backlinks are all about relationships. Essentially what a backlink is another website, hopefully a very authoritative website, who is sharing your content and linking back to your website. And this lets Google know that, hey, this website can be trusted as well, which also kind of helps your status within search engine results. The more relationships you're going to have within your industry, within your business community, and you can kind of be able to find those backlink opportunities from other people sharing you, that's how you're going to really achieve backlinks. Don't go with any of, someone who's telling you they can just buy a backlinks or anything like that. Backlinks are all about relationships. So for a lot of these SEO kind of conversations that I'm talking about right now, whether it's the foundational level or more on-page higher level optimization, pretty much, this applies to every website platform. Everything that we're talking about in this webinar today is not just focused on one particular website platform. So if you're using WordPress, you can use Yoast SEO or Rank Math. If you're using Wix, you can use their SEO Wiz, which they've put a lot of time into and is a really powerful tool. Every website platform, for the most part, Wix, WordPress, HubSpot, Webflow, they all have really great SEO tools built in because that's just how important it is. And the more that you can get sort of these baseline SEO essentials in place, your site's going to be found more. And then as you're continuously growing your on-page SEO, your site will gain relevancy as well. So the next big conversation that I want to have is, we have this great website, we're blogging, we got our SEO essentials in place, we see organic traffic coming in, but, are we making the most of the traffic that we're receiving? That's where conversion rate optimization comes in. So conversion rate optimization is really about, whether you're receiving 10 or 20 or hundreds and thousands of visitors to your website, how are you making the most of the traffic that you're receiving? So, really looking to, sort of fine tune your website based on the visitors and understanding your audience, of course, to, get the desired actions that you're looking for. Whether you want the visitors of your site to come in, fill out a form, make an online sale, book an appointment. We always want to be looking to really optimize our user experience of our website so that we're making the most of that traffic, we're understanding our audience, we're guiding them through that conversion journey to get the outcomes that we're looking for. Because everything we're talking about here in this webinar is all about results, right? That's what everyone's after. So, some typical kind of conversion rate optimization tactics are targeted landing pages. Again, using your metrics and analytics to make data-driven decisions, so huge. And you might be looking at your website and saying, people are landing here, but they're not navigating to our end desired action. So maybe there's something in the page layout, in the navigation of our website. There's going to be sort of these adjustments that have to be made. Even to the best, most beautifully designed website, there's always optimizations and sort of fine tuning that's going to be necessary to make sure that you're getting those desired actions and creating the results that your business needs. So you'll notice in the first half of the first sort of beginning part of this webinar, we're talking about a lot of marketing things. Great design, make sure your design is best representing your business, content optimization, blogging, conversion optimization, and certainly search engine optimization. But I really want to transition here into some other really important aspects of website maintenance and management that are all about improving your user experience and keeping your user experience as high level as possible. So one really big part of that is accessibility and compliance. So accessibility and compliance is actually one of the 4 big pillars of Google Lighthouse. When you can scan your website through Google Lighthouse, they're going to come back with best practices, search engine optimization, structure, performance, and accessibility. That's how important accessibility is. Accessibility is really all about making sure that your website is able to be engaged with by anyone. So you will see, some people have probably seen, let me just jump back, this icon here before, either the human icon or sometimes it's a handicap icon, it might be in the bottom left or top right of the screen. That's a tool similar to Userway as one that I definitely recommend. What that tool does is it helps anyone with a visual, hearing, mobility, or developmental disability be able to engage with your website. Not only is this really important from both a social and legal responsibility standpoint, but why turn away business? We want everyone to be able to engage with our website. Accessibility is very often kind of an afterthought for a lot of businesses, and it's only, number one, going to become more important. But also you should be looking at it like, hey, we want our business to, include everyone and be able to be engaged with by everyone. And through some simple tools and tactics, like making sure you have a privacy policy and accessibility statement in your sitemap and linked in your footer, and certainly using a tool like Userway, you can achieve that, and it's not something that's going to cost millions of dollars. It's, think of it almost like an insurance policy, and we want to make sure that, our businesses, being able to serve everyone equally. Another big aspect of accessibility and compliance is privacy law, especially if you're in California, like my business. CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act, is very important. GDPR, just as much so. This is all about how you're managing sort of like member data, user data, emails, especially your newsletters and things like that. We want to make sure that we're just meeting these regulations. Again, just to avoid any issues, to kind of keep up with, social and legal regulation. And again, just kind of best serving, all businesses or all visitors to your business. Sort of the next big part of this conversation continues the conversation of just creating the best user experience possible, and that is performance and security. So when it comes to performance and security, everybody wants their website to load fast, right? That's number one. We want it to load fast, have a great experience, let people know that it's secure and they don't have to worry about any security vulnerabilities. So certainly for platforms like WordPress, there is a lot of competition when it comes to hosting. So my main recommendation and takeaway that I hope everyone has for this is not all hosting is the same. Don't just buy the cheap GoDaddy plan just because it's affordable. You want to make sure that your website has all of the security, performance, and technical resources that is appropriate for your type of website, for the level of traffic that you get, even for your location. So some key aspects that I just want everyone to remember when you're thinking about hosting is you want to have an SSL certificate. Manage core and plugin updates is really huge, especially for platforms like WordPress. If you can get integration with a CDN like Cloudflare, this is huge and really helps with performance and security, kind of giving you that an extra level on top of your existing hosting. And again, really just making sure that your website has the technical, your website hosting has the technical resources to best serve your website to your visitors. And again, going back to the performance thing really quick, I really just want to highlight that, this applies to all platforms. So even if you're on a self-hosted platform like Wix or Squarespace or Webflow, you have to make sure that you're optimizing for ideal performance. Don't just be uploading huge images and videos into your website. You have to make sure that everything is optimized for web to create, both that fast and secure overall experience, and really just make sure that your website is serving your visitors with the best experience possible. So that kind of highlights a lot of the topics that we wanted to get into today. So let's just talk about next steps. So, I really just threw a whole bunch of information at everyone, and I only have so much time here right now in this presentation. Obviously, there are, much deeper conversations that we can take with all these subjects. But, the main thing I want everyone to think about, you're saying, okay, great, design, content, blogging, SEO, conversions, performance and accessibility things, don't feel like you got to do everything all at once. Let's set realistic goals on how to kind of make these improvements and continuously kind of, raise the enhancements of our website to both meet our goals and make sure that we're, kind of checking off some of these items. So, kind of recommendations that I make around this is set monthly, quarterly goals. So you say this month we're doing this, to, 3 months from now be kind of all set, and, to ultimately meet this goal, by the end of the year. That's kind of, setting it in a way where you kind of have like those short attainable, kind of steps in the process. And that's just going to lead to both you, not feeling like you're just throwing darts at the wall and hoping everything sticks, and really seeing quantifiable results start happening. So, some big reminders that I want everyone to kind of take away is this applies to all website platforms, number one. Your overall design experience, content optimization, blog management, certainly all the various website platforms have great blogging tools. SEO especially, and even conversion rate optimization, whether you're on Wix or Squarespace, Shopify, Webflow, WordPress, these are all the kind of topics that you need to constantly be focusing on to get the most out of your website and continue to grow your online presence. So these are really the kind of conversations that we talk about all the time at my company. And now we're really fortunate that we have the Hoot Host community group where we really have these conversations every day. And we share, tools and processes to kind of help you figure out, how to actually take on some of these tasks and, kind of have like the guidance and the knowledge base to take the next steps and really find the results that you're looking for. So we really hope that everyone will join the Hoot Host community group. You can either scan this code or just go search Hoot Host over in groups on Alignable. And I think now I will gladly take some questions. And let's see if I can, right here in the moment, just help everyone with some, maybe some problems or some questions that you might be having.
Fabulous. Great info, Chris. Great info and
Sure.
well delivered.
Obviously, we can go a lot deeper on a lot of those subjects, but
For sure.
really hope everyone gets some of those takeaways, that it's never a finished product and always keep looking to improve.
Absolutely. And everybody, I'm going to put Chris's next webinar in the chat as well, so you can join his next webinar also, which is on October 20th. So
yeah, this one's going to be really exciting. We're going to focus on design and really how to make the most of your design. We're going to talk about graphic design and stock imagery and all types of fun stuff. It's going to be really great.
For those that are asking, I will be sending a recording in the next 24 hours. So, and all the links that, we talked about today, as well as a link to join Chris's group, his next event, and I'll also share the recording. So I want to thank everybody, because I know we had some tech issues, but we still got a good number of people to be able to join us, which is great. So we've got some great questions, Chris, and I want to give you the time to be able to address those questions. I don't want to rush it at all. So let's start with, how do I add a button to my website to offer all the content in a different language?
Sure. So there's actually some really great tools for that. And really this can apply to any website platform. If the person didn't specify, that's okay. But there are some really great translation tools, both for Wix, certainly for WordPress, and even Google itself offers a really great tool for that. So yeah, I would definitely just have you research either a plugin or an add-on that can do that. And definitely just look to Google. If you're using a platform like WordPress, try to avoid having any third-party plugins that may not be trusted for something like that. But there's definitely some really great add-ons and tools out there that can help you with that. I think I lost your audio. Sorry.
Boy, tech issues are just hitting us up today. I have had a website for several years. Can you help me with my current site?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, a lot of the topics that we talked about today are not just for a brand new website, and certainly definitely apply to older websites. So if you're, feeling like, the site that you have is kind of stale now, hasn't been updated in a while, you're really the person that we're speaking to with this webinar, because things like improving your design for keeping it modern and up to date, content optimization for sure, and certainly blogging and search engine optimization. If you have an older site that really hasn't been getting sort of the care and attention that it needs to really get you the results that you're looking for online, that's really what these steps are about. So yeah, I mean, first off, more than happy to speak with anyone directly to give you some specific input on your site and some of the obvious kind of pitfalls to help you improve. Yeah, I mean, definitely review this webinar again. And I think following some of these steps, and again, setting reasonable goals for yourself, is how you can take a site, even if it is 7 years old, and bring it up to today and start getting better results from it.
How often do you have to update? Does changing a few words count as updated?
Sure, yeah. I would definitely encourage everyone to, from a blogging perspective, like adding new content to a website. I was literally just having this conversation yesterday. Aggressive would be, 1 or even more a week. But most businesses, they do one or two blog posts a month, and they're adding that new content all the time, and that's encouraging the site to be kind of reviewed and crawled more often. If you're just making content optimization updates to like a service page, an about page, whatever it might be, even those small little updates, number one, it's just key to do just so that your messaging and your sort of overall presentation is correct and most up to date and engaging people correctly, and eventually they will reflect on search engines as well. If you're making bigger changes to those pages, changing headline structure to adding a keyword, kind of working in, particular phrases or localization into the content, that's the type of stuff that is really going to help you from a search engine perspective, so that, the site will really begin to improve and, be optimized better.
Okay. How does Google know I have a blog on my website?
The more that you are posting, and as long as you have those SEO essentials that we talked about in place, you're going to be just, part of the rhythm, basically, to be regularly crawled, indexed, and ranked. So, and another really key aspect of it, I would definitely encourage everyone to have, if you're using WordPress especially, but some of the other tools, to have some of Google's tools built into your site. For a tool like SiteKit is really great, and especially with Google Analytics as well. Everyone should be using that across the board. These things will really help you to be verified with search engines, and also to be regularly reviewed.
Okay, regarding blogging, if you are a newer business and don't have a large email distribution list, what is the most effective way to get your blog noticed? Post it on social media?
Yeah, a lot of the major platforms will have tools that any blog post automatically goes out to all of your email subscribers and is also auto-published to your social media pages. Definitely a tactic that I really recommend. And yeah, the more that you do that and just kind of keep that activity up, it's just going to lead to better results for you.
Interesting. A lot of blogging questions. So
Blog is a big one for sure.
Yeah. Is using AI to write blogs acceptable?
I would say AI is certainly a helpful tool. And now you see a lot of platforms like WordPress, HubSpot, even Wix, they're integrating AI into their platforms to help business owners, specifically with content development. So yeah, totally use it, but edit it and don't trust it. Always look at it from a perspective of, this is just another tool in the toolbox. It's not the end all be all. It's not something that's a solution and to totally take out of the equation. If I can talk about my own company really briefly, I would say we still have actual human content writers, and they are amazing. And that's the kind of personal touch that you want to have. But yeah, definitely look to use AI to help you with structure, inspiration, kind of give you some baseline information. And then edit it, give it your personal touch, because ultimately, for the sake of keeping your brand consistent, your tone and voice specific, you want to just, make sure that you're speaking to your audience as yourself. But there's nothing wrong with using it as a tool to kind of enhance and work more efficiently.
Okay. I just released my website through Wix. How do I know if it's using cookies?
Typically Wix is actually one of the better ones as far as having more like kind of built-in tools for this. And you can go through the Wix market and you can actually make sure that you have one of their cookie add-ons. Again, I only touched on it briefly during the presentation, but a really great tool is Cookie Yes. You can use them to make sure that you're just meeting GDPR compliance and CCPA compliance. But yeah, Wix is usually pretty good about that as far as built-in tools, but you can go through their marketplace and find add-ons.
Okay, so for someone who has a very basic knowledge of website design, where do I start?
So if you have a limited knowledge of web design, number one, come to our next webinar, because we're going to really jump into that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, various web developers are going to have different opinions on this. They're going to tell you have to have a WordPress website. It's the best platform, and give you the big sales pitch like that. If you're just starting off and you are trying to figure out, I just want to have a web presence and I want to, kind of, have the base level, basically. There's certainly nothing wrong with the platforms like Wix and Squarespace. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you're just getting started with your business and you want to, have something that, number one, is cost effective, but also is just going to give you sort of that baseline foundation of just an online presence that you can direct people to. I would highly recommend, number one, Google Business Profile, something that we didn't really get to touch on too much in the presentation today, but everyone should have a Google Business Profile, especially local service providers. And then, yeah, just, get yourself set up with a basic website that has a blog, and keep it really content focused. There's nothing wrong with using just like a built-in template that kind of gives you just like a professional kind of baseline website. Make your content unique, specific to what you're doing, And, between blogging, social media, and certainly a Google business profile, that's going to give you that kind of, initial level of, just really having a successful online presence.
So which platform suits best for building a site with a lot of content?
My company specifically, we really focus on WordPress. I think from a content perspective and blogging perspective, and certainly if you have a ton of content pages and a really big sitemap, both from a search engine standpoint and also from a management perspective, I tend to recommend WordPress the most. I don't really push back on the Wix and Squarespace and Webflows of the world, like other web developers that you might come across on Alignable will. As much as I love WordPress, I think the other platforms are very effective as well. But really, if you're getting into a higher level, resource heavy website, I'm probably going to definitely recommend WordPress.
Okay, and I'm actually putting a link in the chat for everybody. And if you use code Alignable, Chris actually has a special offer. Chris, if you want to kind of mention that. Yeah.
So for all Alignable members, if you go to our website, and again, all of our websites are based in WordPress, you get the first month free using code Alignable at checkout. And that's the first month free on any of our website builder plans. And we also have a smaller level plan that we recently released specifically for a lot of the Alignable members that we've come across, people in kind of like startup mode or just small business getting started, which is also a very affordable plan that I think offers a lot of value, and a lot of the topics that we covered today.
Okay, so let me jump into a couple more questions. I used GoDaddy to create my website. I know you mentioned them. Do I need to use another platform?
GoDaddy is an interesting one. And actually my company does support several businesses that use it. It's not a platform that I personally love, I'll be honest. But if you're on kind of like that base level, you just want to have an online presence and you're kind of just getting your business started, nothing wrong with, kind of like that level one, whether it's a GoDaddy site or, one of the basic Google one-page websites. That's totally fine for a lot of businesses. But when you are ready to kind of take the next big step up to have a more professional online presence, to really get more out of search engines, especially, and really just take your overall design presentation up a notch, because GoDaddy will kind of come up short on those kind of things. I would definitely recommend going over at least to Wix, certainly WordPress for sure.
So and here's the question, how do I switch from Wix to WordPress?
It's a pretty straightforward process, especially from a GoDaddy site. So you already own your domain, I'm assuming probably through GoDaddy as well.
This is from Wix. They want to go from Wix to WordPress.
Oh, okay, so from Wix to WordPress, as long as you own your domain, that's ultimately the most important thing. With WordPress, it's really great because unlike the self-hosted platforms like Wix or Squarespace or Webflow, you're not contained within their platform. So with WordPress, you're not paying a monthly fee. WordPress is open source, means it's completely free. There's a huge developer community behind it, which is why it's really the #1 website platform in the world. So as long as you get set up with a hosting company who's going to actually host the website for you, and certainly from the perspective of WordPress hosting, that's a whole other conversation. So I can make some recommendations there as well. But yeah, basically all you need is hosting. We go through a process of just pointing your domain over to that new host and launch a website on WordPress. And pretty much all of the really good, especially WordPress managed hosting companies, they make it all one click, install WordPress, and boom, you're ready to go. So it's a really streamlined process nowadays.
Okay, real quick, I'm just going to give you 2 more questions. Then I want to show everybody around Marketplace real quick. Can you move from a WordPress site to your hosting?
Yeah, absolutely. So my company focuses a lot on WordPress hosting. We have our own WordPress managed plan, and we partner with some strategic systems like Google Cloud, Lightspeed, and Cloudflare, who all have really powerful WordPress integration tools to really take WordPress performance and security to a whole other level. So yeah, I would definitely invite you just to come over first to the Hoot community group, or just reach out directly to me on Alignable, and more than happy to discuss that with you.
Okay, last question. What do you recommend for AI chatbot in the website integration?
Sure. So actually, My company has a partner for that. We partner with a really great AI company who builds custom AI chatbots. So more than happy to discuss that with you. We call it Hoot Chat. But yeah, I mean, as far as the technology itself goes, it's a really amazing tool to have sort of like an additional lead generation integration right there within your website that's across all pages. So, you know, a visitor lands on your website and, you know, they're kind of browsing the information. They get this little pop-up in the bottom right-hand corner, and it, you know, right away you're collecting name, email, you're starting a conversation. And through that AI chatbot, we can really customize the tone, language, and goals that it has to make strategic recommendations to a user. So you're collecting that lead, you're giving them valuable information. So yeah, I mean, the AI chatbot thing is really revolutionary, and it's something that our company is focusing a lot more on. And yeah, there's much more to come on that in the future.
Excellent. So Chris, number one, everyone, thank you for working through our technical issues that we had at the beginning. Really appreciate you joining us and just letting us work through getting everybody into the webinar. Chris, great information.